There's a little series of films you may have heard of called Resident Evil. In fact, I think number 5 is coming out very shortly, and the producer of those films is right here with us. Mr. Don Carmody, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, you're not only a huge Hollywood producer and your base is in Hollywood, but you continue to come back to Canada where you have a strong family foundation here in Toronto, and you work with Canadian filmmakers, and you have a film here at TIFF.
I do. It's called Home Again. It's Sud Sutherland and his producing partner and wife, Jennifer Holness. They brought me the project, and I was fascinated by the material, and decided it was that's something that I had to do and help put it all together. So literally, it's arriving wet at the festival.
Just fresh out of the edit
Fresh
suite.
out of the edit suite, and the sound mix, and it's very rushed actually. Once we finish with TIFF, we've got to go back in and actually change a song that we didn't think we had the rights to, that we suddenly got the rights to, and all of that. So it's
A work in progress, but how exciting is that to unveil something that's still being finished at TIFF?
well, yeah, it's actually not my first time, because last year Goon was not finished at all. It was a very rough color correct, just done for it, and but the picture played, and we went back and sort of finished it all up and put in music that we could really afford. And
Now, as we mentioned, you are based in Hollywood and in LA, and you work on huge films out there, but you do continue to come back to Canada and support Canadian talent. So what do you feel is the importance of that, and why do you continue to do that when you don't really need to or have to?
well, I think it's important to work in places where you feel comfortable and where there is an incredible talent base. And I've always felt that about Canada. It's very fresh here. And I tell this story that my home in Los Angeles is in Malibu, and it's one of these streets that they love to shoot on. So it seems like every second week I'll drive down on my way into the studio, and there'll be a convoy of trucks and everything. And I know a lot of the crews because I've worked there, and I'll stop and I'll say, well, so what is this? What are you guys working on? They don't even know the name of the movie. They don't care. It's just a job. Here, you never see that. I mean, there's a great deal of enthusiasm. The crews are really, really interested in what they're doing. They love what they're doing. It's not just a job. It's, they consider themselves as artists, all of it. And such incredible acting talent here that's, undiscovered or not overexposed. And it seems that in Los Angeles you get the same group of supporting actors time and again in the same movies, and I'm just tired of it. It's like it's much more fun to expose new talent.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that you do, like those are the filmmakers you work with often here are still emerging talent. So what is it that you look for in a project?
Well, I have my big pictures, and that I look for just sheer audience pleasing potential. And I'm not interested in boring people or whatever. I love, my basic genres are either horror, suspense, or comedy. And comedies are hard to come by, but I've made a lot of successful ones. The genre films, the horror ones are a little bit easier. Those are my big movies. And then on the smaller movies, it's where I can take a chance, and I can, use the funding that's available to me to help them, like Denis Villeneuve's, Polytechnique. That was a picture that was not going to get made unless I helped do it. So I felt very, very good about it, and I felt it was an important story that needed to be seen. And a lot of people shied away from it. No, we don't want to go there. And I thought it was very interesting. And the same thing with when I read Sud's and Jennifer's script for Home Again. I was like, I had no idea this existed. And it's basically, in a nutshell, it follows 3 different people who have been deported from the countries where they were raised. Not their countries of birth, because they were all born in Jamaica, but left Jamaica when they were, 2, 3 years old. And now they've committed a crime, and one of them very, very minor, another one kind of could happen to anybody, and another one not so minor, and they all get deported back. And in very much like Crash, it's the 3 intersecting stories that all of a sudden coalesce at the end. And it's amazing what happens to these people when they get sent back to Jamaica. The average Canadian, the average American or Brit goes, oh, poor babies, they're being sent back to, vacation land, paradise. It's not true. They're sent back, and they're basically considered criminals and unemployable, and they have terrible difficulties adjusting to a place that they really never knew. So.
Well, Suds is a huge fan of First Weekend Club, as we are of his work, and he's one of our bloggers at TIFF, so we're very excited for him and this film, and thankful to you for coming back and supporting Canadian filmmakers.
Yeah, I love it. I love Canadian cinema.